CareerViewXR session, and I'd love to welcome Lisa Metzger, the subscription manager for CareerViewXR and the person who is extremely knowledgeable about all things CVXR. And we'll probably keep you all on mute, but if you do have a question at any point, just pop it into the chat, and there will also be some time for questions at the end. When this is all over, we will be sharing the recording of the session, the PowerPoint, and if there's any good questions that we want to share the answers out for everything that we're not able to answer today, we'll send those out too. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa Metzger.
All right. Well, thanks, Laura. Thanks for having me here, and thanks to everybody for joining this morning. If anybody is new on the call that has not had a chance to enter your role in your school into the chat, please do so we can kind of get a sense of who's on the call. Some of the things that we're going to go over today is we're going to do an overview of CareerViewXR. We're going to explain a little bit more how to access the web-based experiences via Are You Ready? And then we're going to talk about VR headset usage and how to best use your VR headsets. And then we'll kind of close up with an opportunity for a PD course. So just wanted to kind of give you that little bit of an overview, and I'm going to make sure I can advance my slides here. So we'll start off and we'll talk a little bit more about what is CareerViewXR. So we're a company that brings real world job sites into the classroom. So it's when we go out and we film these job site experiences, we're filming real workers in their real job environment. So it's an opportunity for students to look over the shoulder of somebody who has that role in that career. And when we film an experience, we are filming for both a web-based experience and for a VR video experience. So everything that is in our web-based library, there is a companion VR video for it. So you'll see both of those experiences, vice versa in both of them. So right now we have 105 different experiences. Okay. You can see some of our top categories are kind of in the healthcare, manufacturing, skilled trades, but we have representation in every one of the career clusters. So we're trying to kind of have a diverse set of an experience so we can kind of cover all of those all of those career clusters. But we are always creating more and more experiences. So in October, we released an additional 9 experiences. In March, we will release another bundle of experiences. So October and March are kind of those big release dates. So if you guys have kind of gone on and looked at CareerViewXR before, we may have increased since the last time you have seen or heard from us. So just kind of be aware of that. What's new this year is that Career Review is available in grades K through 12. In the last couple of years, it's been the middle schools and high schools that have had that access to CareerViewXR. This year, the elementary schools are going to be getting access. I don't know if there are any elementary schools on the call, but there might be some that, if you are in elementary school or if you are watching this video, know that we're going to be working to get you that access to Are You Ready in the near future. So you don't quite have that access to Are You Ready quite yet, which is how you get in to see those web-based experiences. As far as just a couple notes with having CareerViewXR school-wide now. Just know that each district kind of maintains that control over how you choose to implement CareerViewXR. So if a district sees the high value at that middle school, or maybe that 5th grade level, or maybe that 10th grade level, it's kind of up to you guys on how you use CareerView at your school. Also notes that a lot of the elementary schools are not going to have those VR headsets like the middle and high schools do. So what we're recommending is that the elementary schools really focus on the web-based experiences and kind of that broader exploration. And then when you get into that middle and high school, really diving in and using those VR headsets. And the other thing to kind of be aware of is that in the elementary school, those students are probably going to be exploring a little bit more broadly, because as you probably, as a elementary student yourself, if you were think back, you probably had a different career that you wanted to be every year or every month. And so those elementary students really just kind of want to explore all of everything that's out there. Whereas when you kind of get to that middle and high school, you might have more of a career pathway or a cluster that you're focusing on. So that's kind of the intent of CareerViewXR, is to kind of be a little bit more broad at the elementary and then get a little bit more focused as you dive in. So what we're going to do first is we're going to talk about accessing the web-based experiences and how to get access to them, how students will view them, and then again we'll dive into the VR headsets in a minute. I do have a question from Tracy. It says, do schools need to purchase their own set of VR goggles? So CareerViewXR did donate a headset to every middle and high school across North Dakota in February of 2024. So Tracy, are you, it depends on if you're, what level you're at. Are you in elementary, middle, or high school? And you may already have a headset at your school. Okay. As far as jumping back to the web-based experiences, so students and educators alike will get into those web-based experiences via Are You Ready? So I am going to jump into Are You Ready to kind of just show you what that looks like. So I'm logged in as a student for Are You Ready? I'm at the high school level, so this might look a little bit different for you. But if you scroll down, there's going to be a box down here for career videos. And you'll just click on CareerViewXR, and that's how those students will get access to the web-based experiences for CareerViewXR. Okay? And then once you get in, this is what the web-based library looks like. Again, everything that you see in this library, there is a VR headset available, or a VR video available for it. So one thing I want to kind of point out is that under the categories drop down, you can sort by career cluster. So if you have a student that is specifically interested in healthcare, you can search for that, and all of the healthcare related experiences will pop up. Okay. So I'm going to take you into same-day surgery and just walk you through this so you can kind of get a sense of what this looks like. Click on full screen, and then there's one more pop-up that we'll need to open. Okay, so we are inside this web-based experience. Okay. There's a compass at the bottom that you can click on, and that will show you how many scenes are in a particular experience. So in this one, there are 15. Okay, there's generally between 10 to 15 different scenes in every web-based experience. I'm going to jump kind of into the middle, which is scene 10, and it's called Nurses Prep the Patient, and this experience is called Same-Day Surgery. Okay. So again, this is a 360-degree flat image, so you can use your mouse or your finger to scroll and look all the way up, all the way down in this image. Okay. There will always be a play button within every scene. So if I click on this play button, I'm going to play a short snippet of this, but this will show this has a short video that will explain more about what's happening in the scene. Share my sound.
Perform critical operations before surgery. They must position the patient, secure them to the bed with straps, clean the surgical site, and monitor vital signs.
Okay, so that just kind of walks you through what they're doing in this particular scene. Okay, so you can press play and listen to it and watch it, or you could read the text up above. It is the same as what the voiceover is saying. Okay, so there will always be one short video, and then you'll see these sunburst icons, which are informational hotspots. There will be generally between 2 and 4 of these informational hotspots within every scene. So you can click on those. They won't have a video associated with them, but they'll just provide more information about what's happening in the scene. Again, you can press play and listen to it or read the text. It is the same. Okay, so there's one here, one over here, one up here. And sometimes you do have to look around for those informational hotspots. And I'm not seeing any others here. So then you just hit next and continue to look around and work your way through this scene. Okay? One other thing I wanted to point out with the web-based experiences is that there is a worksheet that is attached to every single one of the web-based experiences. It is it's a PDF that downloads to the student's computer or your computer. It's fillable. So if you want them to fill out the worksheet and save it to their computer and upload it to your learning platform so you can submit it for credits, you can absolutely do that. You can also print this out and they can hand fill it in if you'd like to do that. But it's just kind of it's a universal worksheet. So it is asking general questions like what skills or abilities are required for the career? Do these skills align with my personal strengths? They aren't specific to the experience. They're just asking those general questions, getting a sense if the student feels like it might be a good career fit for them. Okay, so just wanted to point that out. Okay. And I feel like we might be getting some questions in the chat here. So I'm going to pull everything up. Okay, so Tracy says, my demo site says the students need to enter an access code. Did you answer that, Laura?
Just started to, but it might be quicker for me to respond. But the address or the access code is going to be pre-populated, so they just have to hit enter. So if you're doing that through your demo account, one thing I did drop into the chat is make sure that you are choosing a role that does have access to CareerViewXR. So that would be any student in grades 6 through 12, and then that access code is populated in, and then you can just proceed.
Yep. And as long as you are accessing through Are You Ready, that access code will populate. You won't be able to go into the CareerViewXR website.
So Robin will have to investigate what your technology staff might have to allow to get past that firewall. There's usually, Lisa, is it like some sites or you have?
Yep. So in Bismarck Public Schools, the IT does block Vimeo, which is the videos that are playing in those scenes. And when we've talked to Bismarck about trying to be able to whitelist so that they can view the CareerView experiences, it's only been an issue that we've heard from in Bismarck Public Schools so far. So I will say that Bismarck has not had that opportunity to allow the students to view the videos. I do believe the teachers can view the Vimeo videos in the web-based experiences. Okay, so I'm jumping, let's see, make sure that we're still answering questions here.
Yeah, there's one about students using their own VR headsets at home.
Okay, a lot of students have can we use those to access this programming through their, okay, so with the students, so they don't actually use Are You Ready on the headsets. So that's kind of there's a different process for the VR headset. So I'll explain that in a minute. So the web-based experiences are not the same way that they're viewed on the VR headset. Okay. Do the video times? Okay, so do they tie into specific North Dakota learning standards? Gosh, that might be, Laura, maybe you can help me out there, and we have not, to our knowledge, tied them to specific North Dakota learning standards. They are more just for career exploration, but we're trying to tie in soft skills and just additional information about the careers so that students can kind of really kind of get out there and explore.
Right, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, all right, so we're going to go ahead and move on. So let's jump into and I want to talk a little bit about some differences between the web-based experiences that we just talked about and those VR videos and viewing them in a VR headset. So while the web-based experiences have that flat 360-degree image, and there are things to click on in those web-based experiences, In the VR videos, you're watching a movie that's happening all around you. Okay? There isn't anything to click on inside that movie or that video. Okay, in the VR headset, because that would disrupt the flow of that movie. So there is a start and an end time to that VR video file. Those videos average 5 to 7 minutes. We have a couple of them that are a little bit longer, and a few of them that are a little bit shorter, but they do average that 5 to 7 minutes in length. Okay, so with those VR videos, the user is immersed into that job space, and they're really looking over the shoulder of somebody who has that role, and they're hearing a voiceover describing what that person is doing in their day-to-day job. Okay. So, as I said earlier, so we did donate a VR headset to every middle and high school across North Dakota at the counseling conference, and some of you may have picked it up from job service if you weren't at the counseling conference in February of 2024. And I know that everybody's kind of at different stages in how you're using your VR headset. And some people might not have even taken the headset out of the box yet, and that's totally fine. So what I kind of want to cover a little bit is to talk about those next steps with using the VR headset. So if you still have that headset in the box and you haven't done anything with it yet, the first thing that you would need to do is get that headset set up. And the headset will walk you through that setup process. Okay. Once you turn it on, it's going to ask you to do some things inside the headset, and it literally just walks you right through that process. You will need to sign into internet for that setup process. It asks you to do some things with the controllers and just get familiar with some of the features on the headset. So once you get the headset set up, the next step is to get the VR videos uploaded to that headset, okay? And in order for you to do that, you will need to have an admin at your school that can get into our dashboard to download those videos and then upload them to the VR headset, okay? So to find out who the admin is, it might be you. We did initially set up the admin as a principal at each one of the middle and high schools. If the admin should be you, let's say you're a counselor or a teacher, then I can very easily change the admin to you. So all I would need for you to do is email me and tell me what school you're at, and I just need your email address to change you to the admin. We can have more than one admin on an account as well. So if there are 2 teachers or 2 counselors or a career advisor, that would make the most sense to have a couple of admins to get those VR videos uploaded to the headset, then we can do that. So just let me know who the best person for that would be to be.
We have a couple new questions in the chat.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Lisa.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see here. Where did we start here?
It's
our 6th grade.
Summer Birchall. Yep.
Okay. Our 6th grade tried to use the headset, but we are an Apple school, so we had technological issues. Any advice? So yeah, so there is something a little bit different with the Apple products. If you have Apple computers, the best thing you could do is if somebody has a personal computer or laptop that you could use so that you can avoid Apple, that would maybe be the easiest way to prevent any issues. I've had a lot of people just download the videos onto their if they have a PC, and then plug in the headset to that into your personal PC instead of the Apple computers. But there is a different way. So Summer, if you don't have the access to a personal computer that can be used, reach out to me, send me an email, and we can kind of connect you and try to troubleshoot with that. Okay. And then did you say a VR headset was sent to each school, or they have the opportunity to request one? Chris, why don't you send me an email, and I can check to make sure that somebody did pick up your headset. Let me know what school you're with, and I can usually find out the person who picked it up or who grabbed it. Okay. Oh, you're not at a school. Okay. So yeah, yeah, to answer your question then, Chris, every middle school and high school had the opportunity to pick up a a headset. Okay. My headset says it only works in my office. I'm not sure what that means. My headset only works in my office. I might need a little bit more information on that, and I might need to connect with you directly, Kale.
Yeah.
When I try to go to a different area in my building, like it won't let me access it. It says that I've left my home area.
Does it say you're outside of the boundary?
Yes.
Okay, so when you turn on that headset, and we're
Yep.
going to talk about that in a minute. That's
Okay.
coming. Yep. So
Okay.
I'll explain that a little bit more.
Thank you.
Yep.
I think we'll follow up. Oh, sorry, Lisa, but we're
Yep.
going to say the same thing. If you
Yeah.
have any headset specific questions about, like, if you have one who might have picked it up, you can either email me or Lisa, and we'll follow up afterwards.
Yep. Absolutely. Thank you. So I just want to kind of generally talk a little bit about the process for getting the videos uploaded. Once you request that admin access, I do email you those instructions too. So it's a little bit more detailed, but generally when you are getting ready to get those videos uploaded to your headset, you will log in to the admin dashboard with your account information. You're going to download the VR video files to your computer. So you're logging in on a computer, you're downloading them to your computer, and then you'll take your VR headset and you'll plug it into your computer. Okay? And then you'll have that headset on and you will transfer those video files over to the headset. So that's generally that process, but I just kind of wanted to explain just slightly. Again, you'll get more information once you email me with those admin instructions. Okay. Also, one thing to be aware of is that there, with the 105 videos, they will not all fit on the VR headset. There is limited memory on the VR headset. When we had around the 76 videos a couple years ago, that was even tight getting all of the VR video files onto that headset. So a couple of things that you can do to kind of overcome this memory issue is that you can get a micro SD card. And I have kind of a pack here, a micro SD card. The small micro SD card is what will go into the VR headset. You can load all the 105 videos onto this micro SD card, and that will be plenty of memory on here to last you for many years after we continue to release more experiences. So be aware that you can do that. These micro SD cards run around $15 a piece on Amazon. I would also check with IT if you have an IT department, because they might already have some of these in your school before you end up purchasing anything. But the other thing that you could think about is, I know some schools also purchased additional headsets when CareerViewXR became first available. So if you have more than one VR headset, you could designate a headset to healthcare. You could designate a headset to construction. So there are different ways of kind of overcoming that memory issue. You can, if you really only have that one headset and cannot purchase a micro SD card, you can also just rotate the videos on the headset as well. So just know that once you get videos loaded onto the headset, they can come off and you can put new ones on there. Okay. All right, so what we're going to dive into now is kind of using the Vive Focus Plus and kind of what some of those best practices for using this headset. Okay. So just a few things on this slide. It kind of shows some of the buttons and how what certain things are on the headset. And I really over on the left hand side really just highlighted a little bit more of the more important ones. The power button is in the upper right hand corner of that VR headset, noted as number 1. That's what you're going to press and hold to turn on the headset. There is a light that will turn on when you put on the headset in the kind of the top center, which is number 2. When it's white, that means it has a charge, and when it's orange, that means it needs a charge. Okay. Number 3, which is in the very center, in the middle here, that is where you charge the headset, and that's also where you're going to plug it into your computer. So that's where you're going to charge it. Inside the headset box, there's going to be another small white box, and your charging cord is inside that box if it hasn't been taken out yet. Okay. And then on the back side of the headset, there's a couple of adjustments. There's a Velcro strap at the top, and then there's a dial in the back, which is number 7. Typically, when I'm putting the headset on, or if a student is putting on the headset, I will put it on for them and adjust it. Okay, I keep the elastic set at a standard size, and then really just adjust the crank in the back of the headset. But it does help to put it on and adjust it for the student. If somebody wears glasses, you can also wear your glasses inside the VR headset. Okay, there is room for glasses. And then a couple other things on the bottom side of the headset. Number 3 is the volume button. So that is right here. It's on the left side. It's a long, skinny button. So you'll see two dots and then 1 dot on the other side. That's where you find that volume button. And then number 6 here is where that micro SD card goes. So you're just you can flick that open with your fingernail, and that's where you'll that's where you can put that SD card if you need to do that. Okay. As far as the controllers go, this big black button in the center, which is number 1, that one is helpful when you get to the page where you see all the CareerView videos, because you can scroll. It's like a mouse pad. You can use your thumb. It's kind of where your thumb rests, and it can scroll. Okay. And then the other big thing on the controller to be aware of is this number 5, which is the upper trigger. So there are 2 triggers on the back. I have actually never even used the lower trigger, so I would just totally ignore that one and just use that upper trigger. That's what you're going to point at in the headset to select something and open it. Okay. Okay, so if you're going to be using that VR headset for the first time, what you're going to be doing is, and this is of course after you have set up the initial setup of the headset. So you're going to power on the headset, and then you'll press the Vive logo button on the controllers. That wakes them up. And you do have to wake those controllers up every time you use them. That's basically just turning them on. So hold down that Vive logo button, which is a triangle. Just hold it down until the controller vibrates, and then that will be then it will be paired. Okay. You really only need 1 controller, so I always leave the second controller in the box. You can use it as a backup in case the battery dies on this one. But it just becomes kind of clunky when you have 2 controllers and you don't even need that second one. So I always just leave the second one in the box. When it asks to pair that second controller, just press skip with the one that did pair, and then it won't even, you can still continue to leave it in the box. You won't even need to touch that second one. Okay. And then once the headset is set up, you do not need Wi-Fi to view the CareerView videos. It's going to ask you to connect to Wi-Fi, but you do not need to connect to Wi-Fi. Okay. It's only needed for that initial setup. It will also ask you to create or log into your Vive account on the headset, and you do not need to do that. The only reason that you would need to go into your Vive account is if you wanted to purchase additional apps or download additional apps for use in the headset, which you can absolutely do because the headset is yours to keep. So if you want to use it for other educational purposes, you can absolutely do that. But just know that to view the CareerView videos, you do not need a Vive account. Okay. So this slide goes over how to find the CareerView videos on the headset. So once you have it turned on, you've paired your controller, you're going to click on Library, which is in the bottom center of the menu. There's going to be several boxes and menus as you get into the main menu. So you're going to click on Library, and then you'll click on My Device, and then you'll click on Viveport Video. Okay. The screen will go black for a couple of seconds. Everybody always thinks it might be turning off or something, but what it's really doing is just opening up that Viveport Video app. Okay. And then if you have an SD card, you're going to look to your left-hand side. There will be a spot where you can click on SD card to open your CareerView videos. Okay. If you don't have an SD card, then you're just going to click on Local and then click on the Movies folder. Okay, and so you'll be able to find where you uploaded those videos. Okay, so you'll click on your folder, and then all of the videos will appear, and that's where you can use this mouse on your controller to scroll through those videos. Okay, and I'm just going to jump over this one. I want to jump in and talk about kiosk mode, because this has been something that has been very, very helpful to schools. Kiosk mode, if you set the headset up in kiosk mode, what will happen is the minute you turn it on, it'll jump right into the Viveport Video app. So if we go back to this slide that I just, whoops, I'm going the wrong way here. If we go back to this slide that we just went over on clicking on the library and then click on My Device and then click on Viveport Video, it will start with opening up this Viveport Video app. It'll directly go into that. And I tell folks this because this is particularly helpful just to kind of avoid some of this messiness when you put it into kiosk mode. And Jody Johnner, if you're still on this call, I'm gonna kind of laugh at you because you were in this session. A couple of years ago, I did an in-person training with some Fargo teachers, and I had 9 of them in the headset at the same time. And all of these teachers were clicking on things and going to the wrong spot, and it was literally like herding cats. So this kiosk mode kind of alleviates some of that finding. Do you even remember this, Jody, when this happens? It was everybody was in a different spot.
It was quite comical.
It was. So this kind of alleviates some of that messiness and finding where you need to go. So this will take you directly into the Viveport Video app. There's a link here that shows a video tutorial of how to set it up in kiosk mode. When you set it up in kiosk mode, you can even take out it won't ask you to connect to the internet, so that again, students then maybe don't get onto the internet and go into spots that they are not supposed to be. So just know that this kiosk mode has kind of been a really a very helpful tool for schools. You can also set up kiosk mode with a password or without. If you set it up with a password, you would have to enter that password in order to get out of kiosk mode. And if you don't set it up with a password, it'll ask you when you shut down the headset if you want to get out of kiosk mode. So those are kind of some of those differences. So what I want to do is take you through some general tips on using the headset when you're working with the students. The one thing to just be aware of is make sure that everybody is seated in a chair when they're using the headset. You don't see any of your surroundings when you have the headset on, and so you can become a little bit discombobulated. You might want to have a couple of AAA batteries on hand for those controllers, that the controllers take the AAA batteries. But again, you also have that, if you're only using that one controller, you have that backup in your case as well. You can use Clorox wipes on the padded face shield between uses if you would like. So this padded part. Make sure you use a microfiber cloth on the actual lens part. But the lens doesn't touch body parts, so you wouldn't have to do that every time. Some people like to label their controllers to match the the headset if you have more than one headset, but also know that if you do have more than one Vive Focus Plus model headset, the controllers are interchangeable. So let's say you have 3 headsets and you just grab a random controller out of another box. That controller is going to pair to the headset that it's closest to. So just be aware of that as well. So it's certainly not something that you would need to label because you would have that opportunity to use different controllers. As far as charging goes, the headset charge will last about 2 hours. So if you were planning on having 5 periods throughout the day, use CareerViewXR with the headsets, just know that you would not have enough charge available on the headset to last for those 5 periods. So what some people do is they will, you can charge the headset during any breaks that you have, whether it's an open period, lunch, between periods. Make sure that it's charging. You can also charge it as students are using it. So as long as you have an extension cord and it can reach that power source, you can have it charging as students are using it. The other thing you can do is if you have other headsets available, you can swap headsets in and out as they're charging. Okay. The other thing to be aware of is that there is a headset, there's a sensor inside the headset, and it's that sensor is right between the 2 lenses. It kind of falls right between your eyebrows. And what I like to do when I'm using the headset with multiple students is I like to cover up that headset with a piece of masking tape or the corner of a sticky note, because what it does then is it makes the headset believe that somebody is continuously using that headset. If you don't have it covered, what you'll notice will happen is you take it off and it goes into sleep mode immediately. So if you have students kind of moving in and out of that headset, it's going to go into that sleep mode. They'll have to turn it back on, and sometimes it'll take you right back to that main menu, and so you have to get back into the CareerView videos. So it just kind of makes it a little bit easier just to cover it up and make it believe that there's somebody still using the headset. But also be aware that when you do that, it does continue to drain that battery. So it will be draining that battery a little bit more. And this will kind of address your issue with the boundary, Kale. There is a boundary that is set up inside the headset. So when you turn on that headset and have that on your head, there is a boundary that is set up around you. It's about a 1-foot circle around the headset. And it's a safety feature so that you don't walk into chairs, tables, other people. And if you step outside of the boundary, an electric kind of grid will show up inside the headset, and it'll say, get back into the boundary. And then sometimes if you get back into that boundary, it's completely fine and will continue playing. Sometimes you do have to restart the headset in order to reset that boundary. But the important thing to be aware of with this is that you will not be able to go into a classroom and pass the headset down a row or across an aisle. Really what you need to do is have a designated chair for the headset and have the students move in and out of that designated chair. Okay? And also, Kale, just to kind of address your specific question, if you want to move to a different classroom and use the headset, you can absolutely do that, but you'll just have to turn on the headset again because it'll reset that boundary. Okay. Sometimes it works well to, mark off an imaginary boundary with some masking tape or some cones, jump rope, something like that, just so that everybody can kind of have that visual of where that boundary is. Okay. So there are times where the headset might not read the CareerView video in the correct way. So it might read it flatly inside the headset. So you put the headset on, it looks like you're watching a TV screen. And that's not how it's intended to be viewed. You should be able to see action happening all the way around you, up and down. Okay. So if it's not playing correctly, you can pull the when the video is playing, you can pull that trigger finger, and a menu bar will show up inside that video. Okay, and there will be an eyeball icon on that menu. You'll click on that eyeball, and then you'll just click on 360, and it will change the video to 360. And after that, the headset will remember that it is a 360-degree video. But I would say, if you are completely just uploading 105 videos right now, there might be a dozen that are playing flatly inside that screen or inside the headset. So just be aware that there will be a few. It seems like every time, and it's just completely random on which ones it is, but there will always be a few of them that play flatly. So this is how to fix that issue. Also be aware that casting is an option, okay? So if you would like to have one student viewing the VR headset, it can cast to a screen in the classroom, which is a great way to just have, get by with having that one headset in a school, and then the entire classroom can kind of see what that student is viewing in the VR headset. They can also hear that voiceover of what that student is looking at. There is a casting device that can be purchased on Amazon for about $50 is what it runs. This casting device plugs into the back of the screen, so it is still wireless with the headset. Okay. But also, before you go out and purchase something, I would also check with your IT department to see if they have anything like this already, or some of the newer TVs, if it's truly a smart screen, might have this casting ability built into the smart screen as well. So do a little bit of checking before you go out and purchase something. But just wanted to share that this is an option. Okay. This next slide just goes over how to cast. So I'm not going to go through these details with you. This presentation will be shared with you, but these are the instructions on how to cast. The first section is how to cast if you are just in regular viewing mode of the headset, and the second is how to cast if you are in that kiosk mode. Okay. And then this slide goes over how to loop a video. So let's say you are in I'm going to always go back to the health science classes. You're a health science teacher and you're looking at that same day surgery video, and you want you have 15 students in your classroom and you want all of them to view the same video in the headset. You can loop any of the videos just by following these instructions. This is also particularly helpful if, let's say, at parent teacher night, you had a booth and wanted, to loop a video in the headset, or you had some sort of an event where you want to just loop a video and people can just jump in and at any point and look at that video. Okay. And then lastly, with using the headset, the biggest thing to be aware of is just to make sure that you power down your VR headset when you're done using it, because it will continue to drain that battery. So if you click on that power button, inside the headset, a drop down will appear, and that's where you can shut down the VR headset so that it preserves that charge and keeps so that it's once you want to go back in, that you'll still have that memory, or still have that charge, not memory. Okay. Are there any questions, Laura, that I know that you've kind of been addressing some in the chat? Are there anything that I need to address in here?
Yeah, let's just circle back really quick to the boundary for the headset, and just a question about that. So is it best to turn it on in the location where you're going to be using it?
Yes.
So, okay.
Yes. So wherever you're planning on having that headset be used is where you should turn it on. And it automatically sets. So it's not something that you can set or change once you turn on that headset.
And then there was a good suggestion for content as well, that, if you would eventually be adding anything for cosmetology, aesthetics, or massage therapy.
Yes, and that has been requested, and we do take requests. So if you are working with students and you hear of something that is like, oh gosh, it would be really nice to have this, we have a running list of experiences that people would like to see. So I will absolutely write this down and make sure that this is given a a boost because, like I said, that one has been requested before too. So that we always do kind of take a peek at what those requested courses are. Yep.
And then the last question is, I know it's not the functionality that you have now, but will there ever be a way for an administrator or an educator to be able to see what all students see on their headsets at the same time if multiple headsets are in use?
Right. So you know, you aren't able to now. What you can do is when it's casting, you can have it casting to a screen. But if you have multiple headsets in that classroom, you would have to then have multiple screens in order to view what all of those students are looking at. Another thing that we're kind of exploring is that that we're looking at getting a headset app, which would also kind of let you know a little bit more about what videos are being watched within that app. It seems like all my videos open flat and I have to change them to. So Alicia, is there a different way for it to default? So it should default to 360, but you might just have maybe you have kind of in a row, you have a bunch that are playing flatly. My fingers crossed that not all of them are going to be playing flatly for you. You might just, hopefully you're just kind of finding a kind of a batch there that are playing flatly. Laura, have anything else questions that should be addressed?
I believe we've covered them all,
Okay.
and my apologies, anyone, if I've missed one so far, just maybe bring it to the forefront again. And Lisa, just with the technology issues, like with a video playing flat, who's the best person for them to reach out to in those circumstances? Is that you, or is there someone else on the tech team?
No, have them reach out to me, because if it's something that I can't answer, then I will involve somebody else from our team.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep. It is similar. Here's the question: a different type of a headset. So it is similar. There's a similar setup to different types of headsets, and the uploading is very similar as well. And a lot of these same tips that we went over with other versions of the headsets, it all very, very similar. And also know that if you have additional headsets within your school, you can get those. You don't just have to use the Vive Focus Plus headsets in your use. So just be aware, if there are other headsets in your school, you can use those for CareerView as well. Okay.
And I'll just tag on to that because of the number of people looking for the headset that might have been gifted to their school by Be More Colorful. I think you did tag all of them with a CareerViewXR sticker.
Yes,
when they were distributed. So if you do come across one and there's some question on whether, that was for this program. Well, if it has the CareerViewXR sticker, that's what it's been designated for. So you should have first dibs on that.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. The other thing that I guess I want to make sure everybody is aware of is that we have set up a PD course that is available to all. It's specific to North Dakota. The PD course really just walks you through what is CareerView. Honestly, a lot of the things that we covered today. So it's getting the headset set up. It's getting those videos uploaded. It's using the web-based experiences. We also dive into some lesson plans. And if some of you took the PD course, we did create the PD course a year ago, and we have made some improvements to it. So we've actually added some sample lesson plans into the PD course. But we also ask you to kind of look at those lesson plans and maybe adapt them for your teaching purposes or your school purposes, and then that is part of your lesson of the assignments for that PD course. The PD course is free to take, so anybody can sign up and take that PD course. If you would like a grad credit, there is a $50 charge to get that grad credit. So if you are at all interested in that PD course, just go ahead and sign up for it. And it's asynchronous, so you can start at any time, finish at any time. I know we have some dates in here. It's kind of the spring semester, but even if you were to start the PD course right now, like this week, you could kind of finish it whenever you're ready to finish that course. So just be aware that is an opportunity for you. And then just kind of a last kind of announcement here too. We are working on a special project called XR for VR, and we're partnering with Bismarck State College on this project. There are going to be 8 immersive rooms that are installed across the state of North Dakota for individuals with disabilities. And it hasn't been determined yet exactly where all these immersive rooms will be located, but there will be one in every region of those 8 regions across North Dakota. An immersive room is a room that would play the CareerView videos that you see in the VR headset, but you'd be able to walk into a room and it plays on all of the walls in that room. So you can hear the voiceover, you can have a group of people in the room, and it's playing on the walls. So you can watch those videos on the walls. It helps people that, maybe you're not able to wear a VR headset, but you might be able to view it in this room. So it's kind of a neat opportunity. So there's more to come on this, but just know that this is this is coming. And I know there is already one that's installed at Bismarck State College, and some of the educators have gone there to take a peek at it. But just know that this is going to be coming more and more across the state. Okay. And then this is just a little bit more information on this project. Okay, the last slide that I have has my email, so that anybody, if you have any additional questions, you can reach out. But I would also open up to any additional questions that anybody has, or shoot me an email and we can always jump on a Teams call. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to walk you guys through some of the process with getting the headsets set up and those videos uploaded. Anything that you guys might need or have questions on. I know you guys did a pretty good job of asking questions as we went through, so there might not be a lot right now. I will be sharing the slide deck with Laura so that she can send this out to anybody that participated. A lot of people like to print off the slide deck, and you don't have to print off it in entirety, but the ones that really have to do with how to use the headset, a lot of people will print that off and throw that into the box with the headset so that anybody that might be using it can view the slide deck in order to kind of have some of those best practices.
Well, I'm going to take a moment, too, to circle back to just about the latest news on CareerViewXR and the expansions that are coming. Lisa did mention earlier that there will be elementary access, and that currently is going to be to download the videos to a VR headset for the elementary students. And then coming next school year will be the access to content in areyoureadynd.gov for elementary students. So that is still in development, but we'll have some age-appropriate CareerViewXR content for elementary students, and I'm very excited about that. Anything you'd like to add about that, Lisa?
No, we're excited to get going. It's going to be certainly exciting to have CareerViewXR K through 12. The other thing, one other thing that I would love to hear from folks on is if you have used CareerViewXR in your school for whatever the purpose might be, we'd love to hear those stories about whether it's best practice or an aha moment, or this was kind of a cool situation. Share those with us, because we love to hear those, and we love to be able to also pass along information that you guys find helpful.
Any other questions from the group? If not, I'd like to thank you, Lisa. This has been incredibly informative. There's so many great questions from the group today, and it's through those questions that we all learned a little bit more about everything. If you do think of something, again, follow up with Lisa, and if you can't remember Lisa's contact information, you can contact me, because I know how to get hold of Lisa as well.
Yep.
And just thank you all, and we'll look forward to seeing you at future events, because with the launch to elementary, we'll have some trainings in the future about that too.
Absolutely.
So, All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great day.